Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Gravitas with me, Molly Kampir. Let's get started. Our top focus tonight is on the latest coming in from West Asia. America moving more of its war machines into the region. Iran, meanwhile, intensifying its military drills. In fact, Iranian officials are reportedly offering US companies what is being pitched as a $1 trillion opportunity. We are decoding all of this for you and more in just a bit. Also on the show for you tonight, as the French president lauds New Delhi's rising global clout, we are telling you all that you need to know. The US alleges China may have secretly conducted a low-yield nuclear test. Getting you the complete story in just a bit. All this and more coming your way. Warships are moving, missiles are being tested, diplomats are talking. Trillions of dollars are being talked about. The US and Iran are engaged in power plays at the sea, in the skies, and across negotiating tables. In fact, both Tehran and Washington are advancing on multiple fronts. Both sides are mobilizing forces and signaling readiness for a war. The United States, in fact, already has aircraft carriers, a dozen warships, hundreds of fighter jets, and multiple air defense systems in West Asia, and there is more firepower on its way. According to an Axios report, at least 50 fighter jets, F-35s, F-22s, and F-16s are heading to the region. On the other hand, Iran's military drills are further intensifying. Iran and Russia will be conducting joint naval drills in the Sea of Oman and the northern Indian Ocean on Thursday. And this comes just days after Iran's Revolutionary Guard staged exercises in the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. We told you about this. The Iranian naval commander has said the objective of the drills with Russia is to enhance coordination against threats to maritime security and to combat maritime terrorism. Just a short while back, in fact, visuals released by Russia's Ministry of Defense showed a Russian corvette arriving at the Iranian port of Bandar Abbas ahead of the planned drills. The Russian ship is designed for multi-role operations, including anti-surface, anti-air, and anti-submarine warfare. And according to reports, Russia, China, and Iran are also deploying naval vessels for joint exercises in the Strait of Hormuz. But while warships sail and the diplomats are negotiating, the Iranian officials are reportedly offering American companies access to vast energy and mineral reserves, presenting it as a potential $1 trillion opportunity for the United States. A pitch that appears tailored to try and target Trump's affinity for such deals. And there is recent precedent for this, in fact. Trump, remember, had floated the idea of annexing Greenland and eventually reached an agreement with the NATO where America gained access to the mineral-rich land, including rare earth deposits critical for future technology. Iran, however, offers resources on an even larger scale. Let's just break this down for you. Iran holds the world's second largest natural gas reserves, estimated to be around 34 trillion cubic meters. And it possesses the fourth largest oil reserves, exceeding 200 billion barrels. It ranks among the world's top 10 mineral-rich countries with 15,000 mining areas. And these include the 6th largest zinc reserves, 7th largest copper, 9th largest iron ore deposits globally. In the year 2023, Iranian officials announced the discovery of what they described as the world's 2nd largest lithium reserve, and recent comments made by the Iranian officials appear to suggest that such an agreement with the American side is being deliberated upon. The Iranian Foreign Ministry official recently stated that for any agreement to last, the US must also benefit economically in areas offering high and rapid returns. And he emphasized that shared interests in oil, gas, and mining investments now form part of the discussions. The Iranian foreign minister had reportedly pushed the $1 trillion pitch ahead of the earlier talks that were derailed by the 12-day war with Israel last year. Its re-emergence, perhaps, signals that Tehran remains open to keep the economic incentives as a key part of the negotiations. Arakshi, in fact, described the ongoing talks in Geneva as serious and constructive. Let's play this out for you.
Various ideas were raised, and these ideas were seriously discussed, and finally we were able to reach a general agreement on a series of guiding principles.
Iran's president has also said that Tehran is not seeking nuclear weapons, while expressing hope that the international community, especially the US, recognizes this fact. Meanwhile, the US Vice President has warned that while diplomacy remains preferable, the US retains formidable military options.
Announcements today. I think the president has a lot of options. We do have a very powerful military. The president's shown a willingness to use it. He also has a remarkable diplomatic team. He's shown a willingness to use that too.
So both sides appear to be preparing for confrontation while exploring cooperation simultaneously. That's what's happening. As the war drills continue, diplomatic channels remain open. Whether economic incentives can actually diffuse a confrontation that could otherwise destabilize the entire region remains to be seen. While the talks between the US and Iran are stuck, another high-stake round of talks also in limbo. The talks between Russia and Ukraine have produced no results as of now. The US mediated the talks between the two sides in Geneva, and this comes as the fighting is only escalating. This winter, Russia has been not just firing missiles, it is weaponizing the bitter cold. Repeated Russian attacks have severely weakened Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Millions of Ukrainians left without electricity. Again, the Ukrainian soldiers say their weapon systems are not working at the optimum levels in the freezing temperatures. Our next report telling you more.
Winter has historically been Russia's greatest general, but in 2026 it has been weaponized like never before. Across the frozen plains of Ukraine, the very air has turned into a barrier that the nation's air defenses cannot penetrate. This is a war of attrition where the elements are doing the work that the Russian infantry could not. For the first time since the invasion began, the defenders find themselves looking at a sky they can no longer control. The reality on the front line is chilling. Ukraine's fleet of interceptor drones, the nimble, low-cost hunters of Russian Shahids, are grounded by the brutal cold. Lithium batteries are failing in seconds, and ice buildup is snapping rotor blades mid-flight. With the interceptors out of action, Russian missiles and drones are slipping through the gaps, slamming into an already crippled energy grid. In the darkness, hypothermia is claiming as many lives as the shrapnel.
Even on the day when new formats of talks begin in Geneva, trilateral and bilateral with the United States, Russia responds with a strike. This very clearly demonstrates what Russia wants and what it is focused on. There were also nearly 400 drones. The threat of strikes does not disappear. Cold weather itself attracts Russia, and they will continue trying to turn winter into a weapon of war.
At the same time, diplomacy unfolds far from the snow. Talks in Geneva aim to explore the escalation, but Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is accusing US President Donald Trump of exerting unfair pressure on Kyiv during the negotiations. Zelensky insists Ukraine cannot be pushed into concessions while under fire. The US has been pushing for an end to the nearly 4-year war, which has killed tens of thousands and destroyed much of eastern and southern Ukraine. But Moscow and Kyiv remain at odds over who gets what land in a post-war settlement. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
CEO of Alphabet is Indian. J-Ho, as we say in a famous movie.
The French president has lauded India as a true global leader in innovation. He stressed that India's vision, talent, technological capabilities are making it a pioneer in the age of AI, startups, and strategic innovation. Speaking at the India-France Innovation Forum held in Mumbai, he says the country does not just follow, it leads. Macron pointed towards the growing number of Indian origin leaders at the helm of the world's biggest tech and luxury companies. And his comments are another signal and reflection of India's rising influence on the global stage.
The CEO of Alphabet is Indian. The CEO of Microsoft is Indian. The CEO of IBM is Indian. The CEO of Adobe is Indian. The CEO of Palo Alto Networks is Indian. The CEO of Novartis is Indian. And the CEO of Chanel, one of the most iconic houses in France, is Lina Nair from Kolhapur, right here in the state. So India does not just participate to global innovation. India leads it.
The French president posted this picture, which is AI generated along with Prime Minister Modi with the tagline, "When friends connect, innovation follows." Ready for the AI Impact Summit. Now, this marks Macron's 4th visit to India, further strengthening the strategic trust between the two sides as well. Earlier, remember, he held bilateral talks with Prime Minister Modi, which focused on expanding cooperation in defense manufacturing, clean energy, space, critical minerals, and emerging technologies. The two leaders also launched the India-France Year of Innovation at the Gateway of India. The cooperation is basically aimed at boosting research collaboration and startup partnerships. The French president also invited Prime Minister Modi to the next G7 summit to be held in France later this year. India's rising profile is clearly visible in the global corporate ecosystem. Indian origin leaders heading some of the world's biggest tech giants, from Sundar Pichai at Alphabet and Google to Satya Nadella at Microsoft, Shantanu Narayan at Adobe, Arvind Krishna at IBM. The list continues with Neil Mohan at YouTube, Nikesh Arora at Palo Alto Networks, Sanjay Mehrotra at Micron Technology, Jay Chaudhary, Arvind Srinivas also helming Perplexity AI. Now, these dignitaries are just some of the examples of India's growth story, as you can see. And during this visit, in fact, Macron is set to attend the Indian AI Summit and also the opening of a research symposium at the Bharat Mandapam. The summit also puts the spotlight on the massive bets that global tech giants are placing on India. Microsoft, Amazon, Google have committed over $67 billion collectively to expand AI infrastructure. And this includes state-of-the-art data centers and AI research hubs. India's own AI ecosystem is thriving with planned future AI cities in Visakhapatnam, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Startups, in fact, also gaining international recognition for outperforming global models in optical character recognition. The government's focus on sovereign AI to develop domestic models, data policies, and talent is aimed at deploying AI at the citizen scale across governance, healthcare, finance, education. India's goal is clear control, critical AI infrastructure while fostering homegrown innovation. Prime Minister Modi, in fact, has made that vision clear. He has said India must be among the top 3 AI superpowers globally, not just in consuming AI, but in creating it. He predicted that Indian AI models will serve billions worldwide in their native languages, and that India's AI-powered governance systems will become a global benchmark for efficiency. From diplomacy to digital dominance, from strategic partnerships to global boardrooms led by Indians and Indian origin leaders, India's innovation story is no longer just emerging, it has already arrived. Switching gears for now, China's alleged mini-nuke test is sending shockwaves through Washington. The US alleges China may have secretly conducted a low-yield nuclear test, and if true, then this could signal a quiet but significant shift in the global nuclear balance. Washington has presented new seismic data to support its allegation, reportedly, that China secretly conducted a low-yield nuclear test in June 2020. The US says a monitoring station in Kazakhstan detected a 2.75 magnitude event, and they argue it is low-intensity nuclear explosion rather than an earthquake or mining activity. Beijing has strongly denied the claims, insisting it has honored its commitment to the 1996 Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, which bans all nuclear explosions. The Kremlin has also denied these accusations and asserts that no secret nuclear tests were carried out. The international monitoring body has said it detected 2 very small seismic events, 12 seconds apart that day, but added it could not confidently determine their cause based on seismic data alone. The allegations also coming at a sensitive point. Washington is seeking to pressure China to join the future nuclear arms talks alongside the US and Russia, and this comes especially after the expiration of the New START treaty limiting US and Russian strategic arsenals. And Trump has previously warned that the US could resume nuclear testing on an equal basis if rivals are found to be cheating, though no such order has been given as of now. American officials reportedly argue that even very low-yield tests, sometimes called mini-nukes, could help China modernize and expand its nuclear forces while staying below the threshold of easy detection. Arms control advocates, meanwhile, are warning that any US return to testing could trigger a new global testing race. The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty of 1996 prohibits signatories to carry out nuclear activities. The question now is over whether China has actually crossed that line, as the Trump administration now alleges, and whether America needs to respond in kind, or can it continue to rely on supercomputers and other techniques to maintain and upgrade its nuclear arsenal. Meanwhile, China is rapidly expanding its nuclear capabilities. It has refused to join the US-led talks on a new nuclear accord, arguing that its arsenal is far smaller than those of Washington and Moscow. And beyond the testing concerns, China is accelerating the production of both attack submarines and ballistic missile submarines at its shipyards. In fact, each vessel extending China's strategic reach across the Pacific and beyond. A report by the International Institute for Strategic Studies says that between 2021 and 2025, China surpassed the US in both the number of submarines launched and the total tonnage. And this is a dramatic shift from the previous 5-year period. On land, China is also bolstering its nuclear infrastructure. Facilities in Sichuan province, including a suspected plutonium pit production site near Pingtong and a complex in Zitong County, which is believed to produce high explosive components for warheads, reportedly. These regions are drawing close scrutiny from Washington. US defense estimates suggest China could field more than 1,000 operational nuclear warheads by 2030. And as the accusations continue to fly and denials continue to come in, the question still is over whether this escalating rivalry actually leads to new arms control talks or a new nuclear arms race. Reeling from the suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty, Pakistan now has more reason to worry. Its water woes are set to worsen. With the summer season setting in within a few weeks' time, India is set to block the flow of excess water from the Ravi River into Pakistan, as the Shahpur Dam will be operational soon. As per reports, the Jammu and Kashmir Water Resources Minister has stated that the work on this project is likely to be completed by the 31st of March. Now, this project dates back to 1979, when an agreement was signed between the governments of Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir for the construction of the Ranjit Sagar and Shahpur dams. In 1982, the then Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi, also laid the foundation stone for the project. While the Ranjit Sagar Dam was completed, the Shahpur project was stuck for decades, owing to disputes between the state governments. Although it was designated as a national project in 2008, the work picked up pace in 2018, owing to the initiative of the Narendra Modi-led government. This dam is being constructed at a cost of nearly $374.22 million US, out of which 20% cost is being borne by the Indian government. The 55.5 meters high dam, which includes a 7.7 kilometer long hydel channel, can help in optimizing the functioning of the hydropower station located there. It will also enable the irrigation of around 5,000 hectares of land in Punjab and over 32,000 hectares of land in Jammu and Kashmir. The construction of the dam is being seen as a continuation of India's policy after the Pahalgam terror attack in May last year. India suspended the Indus Waters Treaty, linking it to Islamabad's support for cross-border terrorism, remember, and this was a big blow for Pakistan, as nearly 80 to 90% of its agriculture depends on the Indus River system. The Indus Waters Treaty was signed in 1960 following 9 years of negotiations. Although it allocates water from the eastern rivers for India's unrestricted use, the country lacked the infrastructure to stem the flow of the Ravi River into Pakistan. While Islamabad has written to India at least 4 times, requesting a reconsideration of the decision to suspend this treaty reportedly, New Delhi remains firm on its stance, stressing that blood and water cannot flow together. And with the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance, India is also pushing ahead with several hydroelectric projects in the Indus Basin, adding to Pakistan's woes. Switching gears for now, Elon Musk is reportedly in a secret race to develop AI-powered drone swarms that could transform the future of warfare. From the Silicon Valley to the front lines, the age of autonomous warfare may be closer than we think. A special report telling you all that you need to know.
They don't roar like jets. They don't march like soldiers. They rain fire from the skies. They buzz, calculate, coordinate, and strike. Drones are redefining warfare across the world. The blueprint is already visible in the war between Ukraine and Russia. Cheap drones have transformed combat. Surveillance drones spot enemy positions. They pinpoint the high-value targets and then combat drones unleash their firepower. Tanks, trenches, bunkers, nothing is safe in today's battlefield. Drones have another big advantage. They are cheap. A missile would cost about $1 million, while a kamikaze drone comes at about $30,000 to $50,000. They are comparatively easy to manufacture and easy to replenish the stocks. That's the reason every military wants them. Now the world's most powerful military is creating a new kind of secretive drone unit. These drones would be operated by voice command. The Pentagon is already integrating artificial intelligence into its scheme of things. Now these new kind of drones would give another leverage to the American soldiers. Reports suggest that Elon Musk-owned SpaceX and XAI are bidding for a secretive contract as part of a classified push by the Pentagon. They aim to develop autonomous drone swarm technology capable of coordinating attacks and interpreting commands in real time. These AI-enabled systems could overwhelm defenses, reshape conflicts, and redefine deterrence in an increasingly volatile world. From Washington to Beijing to Moscow to New Delhi, nations are pouring billions into AI-driven weapon systems. It has unleashed a new tech-driven arms race. For the Pentagon, the fear is simple: fall behind and lose the next war before it even begins. The involvement of Musk's companies is striking. Musk had once warned about the dangers of autonomous weapons and even supported calls to restrict them. Now his firms are at the center of efforts to build them. Whether they become tools of deterrence or engines of destruction, one thing is clear: the battlefield of tomorrow is already being coded today. Autonomous weapons, AI warfare, and a new global arms race promises to reshape warfare for decades to come. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
And before we go any further, a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. As China competes with the US in space supremacy, a mysterious project is in the spotlight. Telling you more in just a bit. You don't want to miss this. What is the story behind Antarctica's gravity hole? What are experts saying? What has been found? Getting you a detailed report. All this and more coming up. As hostile drones grow smaller, smarter, and also deadlier, the Indian Army is preparing to hunt them down mid-air, not allowing invisible aerial threats to breach the skies. The Ministry of Defense has issued a request for information seeking advanced drone catcher systems, and these are automated interceptor drones equipped with nets designed to trap or destroy hostile unmanned aerial systems. The urgency is stemming from a sharp rise in drones that are so small in size that conventional radars often struggle to even detect them. The Army warns that these drones can operate individually or in swarms. The proposed system must independently detect, track, and neutralize these aerial targets, or work alongside the existing air defense systems across every terrain that India faces, from deserts, coastal belts to high altitude areas up to 4,500 meters and temperatures ranging from -15 to 45 degrees Celsius. The system must perform without compromise. And its sensor must provide 360-degree coverage and must detect and track at least 20 drones simultaneously and identify the targets up to a range of 4 kilometers. This system must integrate with the Indian Army's Akash-Tir air defense control. Meanwhile, India is also strengthening its drone infrastructure on the ground. According to reports in Meerut, the government is building the country's first dedicated runway and aviation base exclusively for drones and remotely piloted aircraft. The project, led by the Border Roads Organization, is expected to feature a 2,110-meter runway capable of handling remotely piloted aircraft system and transport aircraft. The base will include 2 large hangars and capacity for nearly 1,500 drone operations annually. Can science fiction also become reality? Has storytelling become a precursor to a potential military program? Why are these questions even being asked? As China competes with the US in space supremacy, a mysterious project, non-partisan project, is garnering a lot of attention. Known as the Southern Celestial Gate in Mandarin, this project was launched in 2017. It was launched by a subsidiary of the state-owned Aviation Industry Corporation of China. It originated as an aviation-themed sci-fi intellectual property, aimed to basically blend the cutting-edge defense industry technology with imaginative storytelling. Additionally, a novel was published with the same name in 2022. As per the storyline set in 2043, humanity is facing threats from alien invasion. It sees the US meeting its downfall after initiating an interstellar expedition program. And the book concludes with a hard-won victory achieved by humanity, led by the Chinese. However, speculation is rife that this project, non-partisan, is closer to reality. In April last year, in fact, blueprints of more than 100 weapons featured in the book plot were detailed in the official project art book. Also, large-scale mock-ups of these weapons have been presented at China's top defense exhibitions. For instance, a model of the fictional Baidi fighter adorned the stage at the Zhuhai Air Show. Similarly, a model of the story's Zihu takeoff and landing platform was presented at the Tianjin Helicopter Expo. On paper, the company has about 40 staff members, and it is reportedly building 2 giant theme parks in the cities of Shanghai and Mezhou. The Mezhou Park, which will open to the public next year, is a replica of an aerospace carrier featuring a combat mission challenge zone. On the other hand, the Shanghai theme park will be opened on the 1st of August 2027, which is the 100th anniversary of the PLA. It will include a lunar base, deep space battlefield, the bridge command centers of a space carrier. Now, this buzz around the project assumes significance amid the growing concerns of US regarding China's fast-growing military activity in space. For instance, China and Russia, remember, signed an MOU in May last year to basically build an automated nuclear power station on the moon by 2035. General Stephen Whiting, the top commander of the US Space Force, has warned that China is developing anti-satellite weapons, including lasers, missiles, satellites designed to attack other satellites. And according to him, Beijing can launch missiles from Earth to take out satellites in the space. America has also accused China of conducting coordinated maneuvers with its satellites, indicating that it is training for space-based combat. Meanwhile, the US is also up to the challenge. While it has 250 military satellites, roughly the same number as China, the Trump administration is moving forward with the $175 billion Golden Dome project that can shoot down missiles in space and protect the country from hypersonic missiles and other aerial threats. And with China's state broadcaster, CCTV, hinting that some weapons in the non-partisan project can become a reality one day, it is apparent that the space race is only heating up. On to India, the Uddhav Thackeray-led faction of Shiv Sena has taken a sharp swipe at the Congress over leadership in the opposition bloc. In an editorial in its mouthpiece, the party basically warned that the question of who should lead the alliance cannot be ignored, especially as key state elections approach. The editorial urging all partners to stop waiting until elections are announced and instead hold sincere discussions to decide the leadership consciously. It flagged internal strains, pointing out that states like West Bengal, Kerala have rival parties to the Congress, while in Maharashtra, the Congress contesting local polls alone benefited the BJP. And the editorial makes it clear that the decision must be taken on whether Mamata Banerjee, MK Stalin, or someone else should lead the bloc going forward. This leadership question also takes on immediate significance in West Bengal, where the Congress and the Trinamool Congress have moved from a strained partnership to an all-out electoral rivalry. With the upcoming 2026 Assembly elections, both parties have rejected a seat-sharing agreement, remember, a seat-sharing arrangement. Beg your pardon. Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge, in fact, have said the party will contest all 294 seats independently. Mamata Banerjee and Abhishek Banerjee have also confirmed that the TMC will fight alone, arguing that any partnership would basically weaken their own position. And the idea of Mamata Banerjee as the leader of the bloc has found support from several quarters, in fact. Sanjay Baru, former media advisor to the late Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, suggested that Mamata Banerjee would be a strategic choice, observing that repeating the Sonia Gandhi-Manmohan Singh model with Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge has not helped. Even RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad Yadav, an ally in the bloc, had earlier batted for Mamata Banerjee to be the face of the national opposition, endorsing her pan-India acceptability and electoral weight. At the same time, senior politician and former Union Minister Manishankar Iyer has named the DMK chief and Tamil Nadu chief minister as the best man to consolidate the bloc. Iyer also stressed that strong leadership and strategic coordination are essential for a united national opposition, noting that Stalin focuses on substantive issues rather than sloganeering and would not stand in the way of Rahul Gandhi becoming Prime Minister. With crucial state elections round the corner, the bloc now faces pressure to take decisive and collective steps on leadership as the alliance partners continue to question Rahul Gandhi's leadership. On to other updates. US President Donald Trump's popularity is declining. The issues and the promises that propelled him to power are now impacting his approval ratings. From immigration crackdown to economy, also the Epstein saga, the polls are showing Americans are not happy with how Donald Trump is handling these issues. Let's break this down for you when we talk about immigration specifically. Trump's approval rating stood at 46% when he took office, and now standing at 38%, down by 8% basically. ICE arrests and more recently Trump's Minnesota crackdown seems to have backfired for the US president. On to the economy now. Trump says US economy is the greatest ever. However, Americans seem to think otherwise. That's the sentiment. US president's approval on economy has gone down by 9% when we compare it to his entry time. In fact, the rating now standing at 34%. And it's important to note that Joe Biden's approval ratings on economy were 34% when the Democratic leader left office. Trump's overall approval ratings showing a similar trend, in fact. His approval rating has tanked by 9% since January 2025 and currently standing at 38%. Let's just talk about the ongoing Epstein saga now. Trump has been named multiple times reportedly in 3 million files released by the Department of Justice. Democrats are accusing Trump of trying to cover up the Epstein files. A whopping 57% of the respondents disapprove of the Trump administration's investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's case. Only 24% say that they approve of it. On Trump's own involvement, 50% of the Americans say they believe Trump was involved. 30% meanwhile say he was not. And early this month itself, remember, Trump shared a video showing former President Barack Obama, also Michelle Obama, as monkeys. It immediately sparked a volley of racism charges against the Republican leader. On the question of Trump being corrupt, racist, and cruel, majority of the Americans, beg your pardon, seem to agree. As per the YouGov poll, although the number remains below 50%, it is on a higher side when we look at those who believe Trump is not racist, corrupt, or cruel. The dip in popularity coming at a very crucial time for Trump. The US heading for the high-stakes midterm battle later this year, and Trump has time and again expressed concern over losing the upcoming midterms. Balance of power in the House of Representatives and the Senate could flip if the Republicans lose the election, so that's very important. Trump has openly said that he will get impeached if he does not win the midterms. And according to the YouGov data, voting trends are ringing alarm bells for Republicans. 47% of the Americans say that they will vote for Democrats. 40% say they will vote for Republicans. Trump's own popularity crisis, coupled with the poor favorability among Republicans, could be an early warning sign. Recent losses in the mayoral elections showing changing trends in American politics, and there is very little time left for pushback before the midterms. Garbage-choked streets, overloaded landfills, and fear of trash avalanches is haunting Indonesia's capital, which is fast emerging, it seems, as the waste capital of the world. Jakarta and its satellite cities, which are home to nearly 42 million people, produce up to 14,000 tons of waste on a daily basis. And this has placed increasing strain on 8 landfill sites which serve the region, which are almost entirely full. And the problem is not just restricted to the capital alone. Indonesia's president, in fact, recently warned that almost all of the country's landfills will be full by 2028 itself. Meanwhile, locals expressed their disgust over the prevailing situation. Listen to this.
The smell is really terrible. It smells like a mixture of all kinds of garbage. There are chicken offals, fish waste, and household waste as well.
In fact, residents also lashed out at the government for mismanagement of waste.
I'm disappointed. We, as civilians, pay taxes, right? So why is the government like this? Waste management should be their responsibility.
Indonesia's waste management problem has been acknowledged at the global level. As per the United Nations, the country is the second largest plastic polluter in the world after China. Indonesia produces 3.2 million tons of unmanaged plastic waste every year, of which about 1.29 million tons ends up in the sea, thereby having considerable environmental impact. Overcapacity landfills can cause considerable harm to the population as well. Back in 2005, 143 people lost their lives owing to a garbage avalanche at a landfill in West Java, triggered by a methane gas explosion and heavy rainfall. Barely 4 years ago, a 30-meter-high garbage heap at another landfill in West Java led to a landslide which entered a river, thereby submerging a bridge to a neighboring village. And to mitigate the situation, the Indonesian government has planned to set up 34 waste-to-energy sites over the next 2 years. These plants will basically incinerate the garbage and produce electricity. However, experts have flagged that underlying issues like lack of waste segregation at the household level and also the recycling remain unaddressed.
There haven't been any truly significant implementations, and the system still tends to use the old method of collecting, transporting, and disposing of waste. From the waste treatment facility to the landfill, it's the same process over and over again, and that ultimately leads to waste accumulation.
Deep inside an underground ice cave in Romania, sealed away from sunlight and human touch, scientists have uncovered bacteria that have been trapped in ice for nearly 5,000 years, long before modern hospitals, long before antibiotics, long before any of us were here. And yet these ancient microbes are resistant to 10 of the antibiotics that we use today. We're talking about bacteria that have never encountered a modern hospital ward, never been exposed to a pharmacy, never seen a prescription drug. In fact, researchers drilled deep into a massive underground ice block inside this Romanian cave, a frozen structure estimated to be about 13,000 years old. The ice volume stretches nearly 100,000 cubic meters, making it one of the largest and oldest underground ice formations on Earth. Inside an area known as the Great Hall, scientists extracted a 25-meter-long ice core. From those frozen layers, they isolated the bacterial strains and decoded their genetic material. According to the author of the study and the scientists at the Institute of Biology, Bucharest of the Romanian Academy, these bacteria carry more than 100 genes linked to antibiotic resistance. The bacteria showed resistance to antibiotics from 8 different classes. In fact, the same types of drugs doctors prescribe to treat tuberculosis, UTI, other serious bacterial illnesses. Bacteria have been evolving survival strategies for millions of years now, but overuse and misuse has accelerated the problem. Also, the numbers are quite alarming. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 6 bacterial infections worldwide no longer responding to standard treatments, and climate change has only worsened the issue. Around 20% of Earth's surface consisting of frozen environments. And as the global temperatures rise, permafrost melts, scientists are warning that understanding cold-adapted microbes is becoming critical because what was once sealed in ice may not remain sealed forever. The ice-bound silence of the South Pole hides a geological anomaly that defies basic physics. Deep beneath the Antarctic plate, a massive gravitational deficit is warping the very shape of our planet, it seems. This is the story of a void that is pulling the ocean floor into a ghost-like depression. Take a look.
Earth is not a perfect sphere, and at the bottom of the world, something is missing. For decades, satellite data showed a terrifying inconsistency in the southern magnetic and gravitational fields. Pilots reported strange instrument readings, and oceanographers found water behaving in ways that shouldn't be possible. This isn't just about cold weather. It is about a fundamental weakness in the planet's structural integrity. The mystery has finally been unmasked. Scientists have identified a massive gravity hole, a geoid low where the pull of the Earth is significantly weaker than anywhere else on the globe. This is because the gravity is so weak here, the ocean surface literally collapses inward. Sea levels in this zone sit at 420 feet lower than the global average. It is a literal dip in the fabric of the sea, a valley of water carved out by nothingness. The cause lies thousands of miles beneath the ice. Research published in Nature journal suggests this area is a graveyard of an ancient tectonic plate. Scientists say that millions of years ago, a slab of the Earth's crust sank into the mantle, creating a massive displacement of the molten rock. As the heavy material plummeted towards the core, it left behind a low-density bubble in the upper mantle. This subterranean void lacks the mass to pull the ocean towards it. The result is a growing gravitational scar that is quietly reshaping the southern ocean. The discovery is a haunting reminder that the ground beneath our feet is far from solid. At the coldest edge of the Earth, gravity itself reveals the story of a world still in motion. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
It's not just Pakistan cricket team that is suffering. The country's hockey team is in an even bigger crisis, it seems. The Pakistan men's hockey team captain has made some startling revelations about the team's tour to Australia. The Pakistan hockey team's tour of Australia has been in the headlines, but for the wrong reasons. The team has now returned home, and after and during a press conference in Lahore, the captain laid bare the nightmarish state of affairs during the tour. Recently, a video went viral showing the Pakistan team stranded on the streets of Sydney, surrounded by their luggage. Shortly after that, he released a video saying everything was fine. However, after landing in Pakistan, he has admitted that he in fact lied in that video just to ensure Pakistan's reputation was not tarnished on the international stage. During his explosive press conference at Lahore airport, this is what he said. I'm quoting, "We cannot work with this current management of the federation. When players have to clean the kitchen and wash dishes before going to play a match, what result do you expect from us? We cleaned our bedrooms and toilets ourselves. We have no proper rest time. The players have been mentally disturbed," quote unquote. In fact, the ordeal that the Pakistan team had to go through is quite extraordinary for any national team in any sport. And it has now been confirmed that the team had to wait for 14 hours at Sydney airport before their onward flight to Canberra. The players were then told they had no bookings since no advance payment was made to the hotel management. Subsequently, the players had to wait for hours reportedly and roam the streets before accommodation was finally arranged for them. But even that wasn't done for the full duration of the tour. When the state-run Pakistan Sports Board was asked about the arrangements, the board confirmed it had given them more than 10 million Pakistani rupees, which is about $35,000 to arrange hotel accommodation of the national team in Australia. The Pakistan Hockey Federation also did not take accountability, saying the responsibility for accommodation arrangements lies with the sports board. And while the organizations continue to trade blame, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has ordered an inquiry into the matter. Naturally, Pakistan went on to lose all their matches during the Australia tour. And this also marks an incredible downfall for the hockey team, who are still the most successful team in Hockey World Cup history with 4 titles. Australian tech billionaire Mike Cannon-Brookes has suffered a staggering loss as a brutal global tech sell-off battered his company. The 46-year-old co-founded the company in Sydney in 2002. The bootstrap startup grew into one of Australia's biggest tech success stories and a NASDAQ-listed powerhouse, employing more than 12,000 staff globally. Just a year ago, he was worth about $14.9 billion US. And today, that figure has shrunk to roughly $7.7 billion. Nearly half his fortune has evaporated as the company's share price tumbled almost 74% over the past 12 months. The company, which builds software tools for developers and corporate teams, was once valued at $162 billion US at the height of the 2021 tech boom. Its market capitalization now sitting near $22 billion US. Shares recently slipped to a 52-week low of around $85 US. That's mostly because investors are spooked by AI. The trigger is not the collapsing revenue. The company is still growing. Adjusted profit also increased from a year earlier. The company makes money by charging corporate clients per user or seat. If AI allows companies to operate with fewer engineers, that could mean fewer paid users. In theory, a team of 10 developers could shrink to 2, slicing the demand for software subscriptions. He insists the market has it wrong. He argues that AI will not replace the company's products, but will be embedded within them. The company is investing heavily in integrating large language models into its tools, betting that smarter software will deepen, not destroy, customer reliance. With Muslims around the world welcoming Ramzan, a month of fasting from dawn to sunset, it's also marked by prayer, reflection, charity, along with gatherings where families and friends break their fast together. We're leaving you with these images coming in. Thanks very much for watching.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch. In-depth coverage of global issues broken down into facts, figures, and simple words. Backed with analysis from field experts who truly matter, because we believe in decoding the real picture for you. So you get a much wider and deeper understanding of stories from around the world, a 360-degree analysis. An award-winning documentary series, week after week creating the maximum impact. Watch WION Wide Angle at these times on WION. World is One.
In West Asia, every move shifts the world's balance. Wars, ceasefires, alliances, power never stands still. From Tehran to Tel Aviv, from Damascus to Doha, the West Asia Post cuts through the chaos to reveal the region that shapes the world. Because what happens in West Asia never stays in West Asia. This is the West Asia Post, the region's story, the world's impact.
And welcome to a brand new edition of South India, a daily dynamic show that will capture the pulse of southern states.
By blending the special stories, the breaking alerts, and the culture developments as well.
From the 7 days